Welcome back to the Aa Kanjong War channel, where we are going to be talking a little bit about a cultural difference today between China and the UK. And it's going to be about paying bills, as you've seen from the title. Now, this is a little bit of a bone of contention with a lot of multicultural relationships around the world. However, you know, I've experienced this myself as well. Now, first off, we're going to be talking about friendships. Let's paint an analogy. Let's paint a scenario out. If you go out with friends in China, there's like a group of 4 of you. Quite often, one person will just pay for the meal, and sometimes people are fighting over who pays. You know, we find that kind of crazy. Not in a bad way. It's very nice and generous to do that. Typically, between younger people in the West, we will split the bill. You know, just get what you pay for. Often not even just split it equally and make it easy. We will just write down what we had and just pay for ourselves. We don't tend to have this sort of pay for each other culture. However, with like slightly older people who have much more money, typically, you know, if it's not too big of a group, one person will probably offer to pay for everybody. And that seems to be similar in China. You know, you guys call it AA, right? If you pay individually, which actually the first time I heard that was when I came to China. But I've found that that's actually quite common with young people here too. But again, with the older folks, then typically one person will pay. But now, into relationships is slightly more interesting. Romantic relationships. I feel very strongly about being equal in a relationship in terms of paying for things. And I think that is from the culture I've grown up in. I do think quite a lot of people in the West are like that. Many girls want, you know, a very equal society, and sexism is very, very looked down upon. Because, you know, over recent history, it's been a very matriarchal society. Patriarch. Because obviously over recent history, it's been a very patriarchal society. So, you know, the idea of having ultimate equality is a very important value for many Western girls. And therefore, a lot of them will want to pay their own way in a romantic relationship. You know, maybe not split the bill, but tend to pay for things fairly equally. Now, how I feel about this is in terms of how much you earn, I think that should be the ratio of what you guys pay. And I will make that very clear when I do get into a relationship from the start, because I feel very strongly about that. But as I know, in China it's quite different. You know, a lot of the guy will tend to pay for everything, almost. You know, the rent, the meals, all of this kind of stuff, and it's very interesting for me, because I can't really accept that. I feel it's only really fair for both to contribute. Now, if the guy earns 5 times more than the girl, then he should pay for 5 times more of the things. I completely agree with that. But I think in the West, it's now becoming more and more that the girl wants to prove her independence, you know, prove her independence, you know, and not feel like she needs a guy to rely on financially. That's very important for a lot of girls in the West. So maybe I've been influenced by that kind of way of thinking. Here, typically, it's quite expected from a lot of the girls for the guy to pay for meals, for rent, for a lot of things. One thing that really opened my eyes to this culture difference was a couple of years ago. I had a Chinese friend that came over to mine, and he looked quite stressed. And I said, what's up with you? And he goes, my girlfriend's had a pay rise today and she makes more than me now. Like, he was acting as if that's a really bad thing. And at first I was like, congratulations, man, that's great. You guys, you know, will have more money. And he was like, no, you don't understand Chinese culture. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, I've got to work harder. I've got to make more than her because it looks bad on me. And I thought, wow, like, what? That's so different. You know, if back home in England, you heard that your girlfriend had got a raise, a pay rise, and earns more than you think, well, that's great, great news. Time for celebration. But here it's obviously looked down upon if the girl earns more than the guy, and I think that must make it really difficult for powerful women here that are in great jobs and have authority and earn a lot of money. It must make it really hard for them to find a spouse, you know, if the general thinking is that the guy has to earn more. Yeah, personally, I'm not quite sure how I feel about that, but I'd like to hear your thoughts down in the comments. You know, if you're in a relationship, who pays for most of the stuff, and what do you think is fair? What do you think of the Western idea of that? But I must say, my view is not the same as everybody's. You know, everyone's on the spectrum somewhere. Everyone's different individually, so I can't speak for all of the people in the West. Of course, this is just my view, my own opinion. But hopefully you did enjoy that insight. Drop a like on the video if you did enjoy, and we will see you in the next one. For now, take care.